Welcome, welcome everyone. My name is Kat. You are on my art channel, See Nor Art. Very happy to have you all here with me this evening. So welcome, welcome. I'm going to be doing a fire mountain. Last week I tried to do a dragon, it didn't work, but this week I'm getting the dragon down and I'm actually painting a dragon. So hope you guys enjoy hanging out with me this evening as I do watercolor painting. I may be a little quiet, but that's okay. I will just be painting along, and hopefully you'll have some time to enjoy your Wednesday evening as I have fun in my studio doing what I love to do. So yeah, welcome. Hello, Mathercist. What does a female snake use for support? A cobra. Ooh. Not appropriate in all situations, but I appreciate the humor. It is very, very funny. All right. So tonight, what I'm going to be doing is I've already started with my foundation drawing, and I already have my background done as well. So the background color that I chose is a little non-traditional, although it does look a little more blue on the camera than it does here in person. I chose ultramarine turquoise because I'm going to be using a complement color, and I wanted the sky to have some contrast between the other colors that I'm going to use within the painting. So that's the reason for the background. I might add some more detail later, but I went ahead and did the background first. Hello, Seven. Seven came over, my kitty cat. Do say hello. Are you gonna say hi? Huh? Are you gonna come up and say hi? Hello. He's like, I know you're wearing black, Mom, so I gotta come up here and say hello. Coming up? No? I mean, it's up to you, bud. You coming up? Can you make it, buddy? He's like, oh, jeez. I'm sorry. I think I need to get an office chair that's too big for me, so that way I can fit my cats in my office chair. Does anyone else have that idea? Like, I wonder if I should get like furniture in my house that's way too big for me just so I can have my cats with me. Might just be me. The dad joke before had some duct tape on it. Come on. No? Do you need help? Hold on. Let me unplug. Do you need help, buddy? Come here. Oh, there we go. Is that a purr? I got a purr for all my efforts. So Seven is my 11-year-old. So he does have a little bit of, he's just an older kitty. So sometimes jumping is hard. And then he goes and sticks himself on the arm of my chair. Woo! Balance was not good. He almost biffed it on the side of my chair. Okay, buddy. You're okay. Yes. He's like, you're wearing black, so I gotta put white hair all over it. I can never wear clothes without having cat hair covering all my clothes. I should put a lint roller in my studio, so that way I can just lint roll all the kitty hair off. Take a boy. Sorry you can't fit really well. I could scooch my chair back and I can sit on the edge of the chair, which is not really great for my posture, but good for my kitties. Okay, alright, now that I have a cat, oops, in my chair, sorry, I'm giving him a little scritches. Hi, Office Max. Do you have an office chair for two? Yeah, they should make office furniture intended for those of us who have animals that insist on being there all the time. My intentions for this illustration is it's supposed to be fantastic. It's supposed to be fantasy-like, more like something that you would expect to see in your dreams, rather than being realistic, but also keeping adhering to like some common themes that go along with painting landscapes. So if you've never driven through a mountain range, mountain ranges are really fantastic, and they have a really great practice, what we call atmospheric perspective. So for atmospheric perspective, it's pretty easy to follow. Whatever is closest to you has the most saturation of color, and as it goes further and further away, it actually decreases in color, so it kind of loses color as it goes along. So my hope is that I can do the same thing here, where the mountains that are closest to us have like the largest amount of saturation in color, and then as they move backwards, I can indicate that by less color. There it goes. Sorry. Sometimes it's hard for me to paint and talk at the same time. What motivated the dragon setting the mountain on fire? So I really wanted to create a dragon illustration, and I was having a hard time. Sometimes you just have mental blocks, and you want to be creative, but it's just really hard to do. So what I did is I looked at illustrations of some of my favorite dragons, and I went ahead and used those to inspire me. So I looked at illustrations of The Hobbit with the traditional drawings that Tolkien made for his book. And then I also looked at an artist. She goes by the name of Mary Doodles. She used to be on YouTube a lot. I think she's more on Facebook now, but she's a really fantastic, creative person. She's this wonderful person. And from looking at that, I ended up finding the background that I wanted, finding the subject matter, finding that inspiration to be a little more creative and a little more free. Because I would like to do more creative, like silly, whimsical, like illustrations that are more like imaginative. They're not really like serious in any way. They're just fun to make. So that's where the inspiration came from, is that I just wanted a fun illustration that would help me relax and keep me from being totally stressed out. There we go. So what I'm doing now is I'm just making sure that there's like contrast between the lightest, which is here, which will pretty much look white, but it's not quite white, and then building up, making sure that these layers here have enough contrast to build up. So I'm gonna need to add some like blue, like I need to go really saturated over here because the contrast is just not eye-popping enough for me. So I'll keep building up those colors. Parasec. The Impi feet. Oh, Twitch plays in blue round 2. Oh yeah, those were fascinating. Oops. Let me scooch that up. Just realized you cannot see that because I am working in the far, far corners. Move that over. So what I did here is I applied, I dipped my brush directly into my paint, which is not a problem. I just didn't have enough water on my brush, so it just pretty much dry brushed it, and where I want solid intense color. So the blue I'm using is ultramarine blue, which naturally lends into more of the purple family on the scale of blues than the red family. It's a very versatile color. It's often like one of those suggestions if you ever take an art course, they'll end up putting ultramarine blue like as some of your colors if you're painting. Okay, so it's a perfect example of like figuring out your different stages and steps of making a gradation in mountains or atmospheric perspective. So when I added that second layer of blue, it really pushes everything else in the background. It just keeps pushing it back. So it tricks your eye into thinking that it's an actual like mountain range because you're expected to see it this way. And it gives like, so I have a lot of, like now since I put the blue here, you can really see the green in the sky. So my camera is actually picking up that this is green where this is blue. But I really wanted my mountains to be blue. That's why I chose my sky to have a green tint to it. It's still in the blue family, but it's totally in the green range of the blue family versus like being in the purple or being in the red family. So that makes a really nice contrast between what's going up in my foreground, and I'm trying to push back because my ultimate goal is to take this dragon and make it look huge. Like right now, like it doesn't look very big because I haven't added the colors that I want to it, but I want this dragon to look so huge that you're like naturally going, at first you go, oh, really cool, it's a painting of a dragon, but then I want it to still feel like you're really small, even though I have like this mountain range here. So it's just to make the dragon look even more gigantic and huge. So that's the goal. We'll see if adding color to the dragon and the use of my colors on the dragon will help push that further of making it look ginormous and huge and what's going on in the foreground. So you wonder if Twitch plays Pokemon? I don't know. Oops. Did I just put that in my clean water? I may have. Yes, it did. Oops. Ah, the troubles of keeping my clean water. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do, since I kind of did an oopsie, I grabbed the wrong cup because I had switched their placement. I'm so weird. I usually have a placement where my clean cup of water is usually to my left and my dirty cup of water is usually to my right, so I can keep them separated, but I flipped the two and I just made my clean water dirty, and I need that clean water, especially since I'm going to go into more colors up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to my Be Right Back card, and I'm going to transition us over, and I'm just going to come back because I got to fix my water. I got to have clean water. Otherwise, you know, it's hard to do watercolor without clean water. I'll be right back. Okay, it didn't take me long. Let me transition us back over. Hello, welcome back. So clean water is really important for doing watercolor because your brush ends up picking up a lot of pigments. And if you have too many pigments on your brush, all the colors start bleeding together and you're going to make a beautiful neutral color, aka browns or grays, which is awesome in its own respect, but if you're trying to do like super saturated colors and more pure colors, it's kind of sad when your brush is fighting you because it's not clean. So yeah, so I went ahead and got clean water. My water is over here. My drinking cup is over here. I'm going to take a drink of water for myself. One of the other habits I have is that I always put my drinking water in a coffee cup. Because if you've ever met an artist, they will say that they have accidentally drank their watercolor water. And I haven't drank it, but I definitely have picked it up intending to drink it. So I always try to make sure that my water is not like in a water bottle or any kind of container that's similar to my water containers. So I usually put it in a coffee mug because I'm not about to stick my brush into a coffee mug because I've never used coffee mugs in that manner. I have used all kinds of other cups for my watercolor water, but I've never used coffee mugs, so that's one way I keep them separated. Because you don't want to drink your watercolor water, it's not suggested, and you don't want to stick your brush into your tea. I mean, you can paint with tea, but it's just not the same, so... Too fat. I think that's too fat. This might be a better size. So what does paint infused water taste like? I actually don't know. I don't know. I don't want to find out. There's a lot of pigments are made from interesting chemicals and natural minerals and everything like that, so I'm gonna try really hard not to experience it. That's why it's always good to wash your hands after you've played with paint. ahead and turn it this way. So the yellow that I'm using is, I think it's pronounced garbage. It's a fancy yellow. It's just like more like a mustard yellow. I'm going to go ahead and apply my yellows down first where I want them to go, because yellow naturally is a transparent color, which means that it can be eaten alive by anything stronger than itself, and just basically fade away, which makes it a great thing to go ahead and set up as a base color. So if you wanted something to appear more bright orange, yellow is a great undertone color to set down because it won't fight any colors you put on top of it. But if you want something to appear pure yellow, it's always a good idea to try to apply that first, so that way you have a good base layer for your yellow, and then that way if you need to go back and add another layer of yellow, you can do that to kind of strengthen it up in case you kind of got a little wild with your other colors. You can go ahead and do that. So which I'll need to do because I drew my underdrawing with purple, which when you combine purple with yellow, you will definitely create brown. So so I'll need to come back with another layer of yellow before I'm done. So right now I'm trying to add enough water to kind of like water down. This is something I may have to do later too. Because one thing I'll have to keep in mind too is if I've got fire from my dragon coming down onto my mountain, that will be my source of light, so I'm going to be reflecting all of those flame colors onto the dragon, and it's going to affect like the colors, because you won't see super saturated colors like right here near where the flame is coming from, but you'll see it more saturated like back towards the wings because it's further away from the light source. So I got to think about where my light source is, how my reflections are going to be, which the reflections will be fun to do. So what I'll do is I'll keep adding water to my brush to like lighten up this yellow color, and if I go back and go ahead and darken it later, that should help too. I might seem to get kitty hairs. There we go. I wish we had a dragon fact. Oh, I can give you a dragon fact. Did you know that dragons are one of the very few mythical creatures to show up in almost all types of cultures? Like from ancient times going forward, before we started interconnecting and sharing stories between each other, that a dragon shows up everywhere. So like China has their own dragon, even though they never interacted with the West. The West, of course, has dragons as well. Japan has their own version of dragons. There are dragon-like creatures in South America. There are dragon-like creatures even in like Native American, even though they don't call it dragons. There are types of dragons in their culture as well. So that's an interesting dragon fact. That despite the fact that we weren't connected when these mythos started, dragons are like one of the very few mythical creatures that have their own stories depending on which culture you're in. It's very rare to have a culture that doesn't have some sort of dragon story. Hello, Ginger. Welcome. Hope you're feeling better. So regardless of the culture, society has always invented dragons of some sort. There's a little bit of dragon a little bit everywhere, so on all continents. A healthy cat's temperature is between 38 and 39 degrees Celsius. I did not know that. I mean, there's always a part of me that hopes that paleontologists will discover dragon bones. Never know. Never know. Maybe someday they will find a dragon-like creature. Probably won't be what we imagine it to be, which will be fantastic and fun in its own way. And maybe that's why a lot of cultures have dragon mythos in there, is because of dinosaur bones. It was their way of explaining it. Found a weird bone and was like, well, I decided that this is gonna be a dragon. Draco Rex always looks Dragon-esque to me. I think that's why they allowed it to be named after Harry Potter, because it does look a lot like a dragon. It does. Okay. Trying to decide what to do next. Should probably work on the fire a little bit. Ever played with shadow lights? I don't know what those are either. I don't know what they're called, but you stand against a screen and a light flashes and your shadow remains? I mean, the only thing that I've heard of that is in atomic bombs, because it's so intense that it burns your shadows to the ground, but I had not heard of those. I do know that there's a photographic paper that you can lay things on top of, and then you can expose it to light, and then it basically does little outlines of whatever you lay on top of the paper, which is really, really cool. Oh boy, 7. Oh my goodness, you brought me a wand. You're such a good boy. What a mighty hunter you are. Yeah, Tickle boy, thank you. Thank you for bringing me your prize. I'm very proud of you. Yeah, we can safely assume that you've never nuked anybody. Nope. Nope, I'm pretty lazy when it comes to strong emotions. I'm like, if it's not happy, I'm just not really interested. I feel like nuking somebody requires a lot of negative energy. I don't believe in negative energy. I'd like to keep it to a minimum. So there's a guy on AGT who paints with light. It's kind of like that. Shadow, not bombs though. Sing us a song of your people, 7. He did. He's a good hunter. Meow meow. Thank you. I'm working on doing, so I've got the belly I want it to be yellow. I needed to get the yellow so that way the yellow can completely dry, because I really want to do fire that goes through all the phases of fire. So you go from, so the lightest temperature of course is yellow, and then as you increase in temperature with flame it turns blue. So I wanted to have like that intense blue as it got closer, so that way everything coming from the mouth and then hitting the top of the mountain is getting more intense blue, and then it'll go a lighter blue, so there'll be like an edge of blue, like really intense blue, and then I'll do a lighter blue within that. We'll see how I can do that in a small space, but I think I can get it done. It's gonna be nice. I thought that where I would head to next is heading on to maybe not the wings, because I know the wings are going to need to be the darkest because of the light source here. So I'm going to move on to my snake form of the body next. It needs more fire. I could add fire, but I don't know. I kind of like the amount of fire I have. So I didn't want it to go crazy because I still wanted you to be able to see like the body and everything. So I think it's more impressive to be setting a mountaintop of flame. So, especially if I can get some of the body done as well, and then if I add blue, then I'm gonna have just like little flames going off of blue. So it just makes it look more intense. So it's like the blue is dripping off the sides. So yeah, because I think that would be fun. So let me go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a base color for my dragon, and then once I get the base color down, then I'm probably going to go back and start adding scales of some sort, of like just a more intense color, so that way it has scales. And then that way too I can kind of control, like I know that this area will need to be light, this will have to be the darkest. The head will have to have like the whole scale, the whole range. So the snout will need to be light, but back here along the ridge will need to be super dark, just like the back of the neck will need to be super dark. And then the wings will have to be like dark as well, but have some highlights of that flame reflected on it. So that way it kind of like pushes everything back and pushes things forward. So what I'll need to do next is I will need to make a puddle of color. So I'm going to move this. So I'm going to go with Scarlet. It's a good base color because it's supposed to be red, but it goes down like orange. So it'll be a great way to add other reds on top of it to intensify the reds. So I'm trying to add enough water so that way when I apply it, it won't be like, wabam, I'm red. It's gonna be wabam whatever I do because it is red, but I don't want it to be so intense that it's just like, oh jeez, what did I do? Yeah, I have had the request to do dragons before. This may not be something that I sell, depending on how good it goes. But it's nice to paint dragons though. Is the pool safe for diving? It deepens. I think I understand, but I don't think I understand completely. It depends. I guess some pools don't have deep ends. Is a legit thing. Drink of water. I got really quiet, but I was zoning out and painting, so realized I missed some of my yellow. That's okay. I still have some yellow. Fire's already looking hot. Well, thank you. Hope so. It is kind of showing up nicely. It's a nice contrast against the blue. I think the yellow is pretty much dry. So what I can do is go into. Let me grab another brush really quick. So I'm going to skip the red because I already have so much red in the dragon. So I'm going to skip the phase of fire where it goes from yellow to red and then it goes to blue. I'm going to skip that because I'm an artist. I can do whatever I want. It's my world. I do what I want. And I'm just going to go ahead and head towards that blue. I just need a nice little puddle of blue though. I'm not going to use the same blue as the mountains because I want them to stand apart. So I'm going to go into my phthalo, which has a little more green, which would make more sense since this fire technically is closer to the sky than it is to the foreground up here. So I don't know if it was your plan, but it kind of reminds me of the dragon from Sleeping Beauty. I've never seen Sleeping Beauty, so it wasn't intentional, but I'm glad it reminds you. I think that dragon's black, so maybe this is its redheaded cousin? I don't know. That was a lame joke. It sounded better in my head. Black and purple with green fire. Oh, cool. Like I said, I've never seen the movie, so no, it wasn't my intention. I just really I like the frills, so I wanted my dragon to have frills, so I did. Newton? Hey, buddy. Newton's, I don't know if you can hear him. He's meowing so tiny. He's the biggest of all my kitties, but has the smallest mew. Hey, Newt. What's up, buddy? Meow? What? What, buddy? That was a big sigh. Hey, Newton. He's giving me big ol' head bumps. Hey, buddy. So I have my physical tomorrow. Well, best of luck. I'm sure you'll be fine though. It's good to have those baselines though, in case something does go wrong. They have records to be able to tell what was normal and what changed over time. My work uses a different reference range for cholesterol than my GP does, though. Makes it a little more hectic. My GP told me last time I went in and got blood work done that I have high cholesterol. So I've been trying very hard ever since to eat right in hopes that the next time I get my blood work done, it'll go down. What's Zorch? I don't know what Zorch is in reference to. Oh, the sound of the dragon zapping the mountains, Zorch. Aww. Guess Nightbot's like, I need to talk a little bit. Oh, I'm having a... Sorry if I'm having a moment. I just kind of went into the red of my video feed for a little bit. I'm sure that caused some bubbles. Notice me, Nightbot. I know. Sorry if I start dropping frames. I suddenly had a big dip in my upload speed, so I'm really sorry about that. It's like I looked over and I was like, oh my gosh, my upload speed is dipping like crazy. Okay. There it goes again. Oh my goodness. I might be dropping frames like it's hot. There's not a whole lot I can do because it's happening so infrequently, so if you guys just let me know. That's good. I'm glad I'm doing fine right now. But yeah, if you notice that it's starting to hesitate on your end, I think it's me tonight. So I keep looking over there and it shows up bright red and I'm like, oh no. Excuse me. Oh good, I'm glad there's no issues. I just noticed that I have a little meter not only on here on Twitch, but I also have a meter on my OBS. Yeah, and my range just dropped really low because usually I'm uploading around, well, it's kind of going back up in the 2000s, but for some reason I'm dipping way below the 2000s. Because I'm on mobile texting AGT results to my Speedy. That's okay. Yeah, I thought AGT was a Tuesday thing, but I guess they must be getting to that part of the season where they're switching the days up. They're on to live shows now. Okay, sorry. I don't watch, obviously, clearly I don't watch a lot of television. so many movies and a lot of people haven't seen. I haven't seen Sleeping Beauty. Dodgeball. I have seen Dodgeball though. Is that technically a sports movie? Guess so, huh? Cat, make Ginger watch Dodgeball. And I'm going to say yes, it is a sports movie. Well, I can't make Ginger watch anything that she's not willing to watch, but... Hello, Lumos. Welcome, welcome. Strap her eyes open and make her watch it. No, I don't believe in forcing people to watch movies they don't want to watch. I will not watch Clockwork Orange either. I don't know what Clockwork... I've never heard of Clockwork Orange. I just know that's really hard to say. Don't think I'm have enough diction to do that. I saw clips from my film class and that was enough. But be at dodgeball practice at... Oh man, 6 a.m. is early. Mm-mm. It's okay. My friend Panda has wanted me to watch it anyways. It's not bad. I don't remember much from Dodgeball. I just know I've seen it. It's kind of like that movie that it's not called The Office because that's like a television show, but it's pretty much is The Office, but it's like a movie. It's like that same kind of type of humor, I think, in my opinion. Smashing printers on a hilltop type of humor. Oh, thank you, Lumos. Yeah, I really wanted to do a dragon. So this is my attempt to making a mountain, a fire mountain. Office Space, thank you. Yes, that's the name of that movie. Could not remember. Oops. It is strange what will pass for television. And what people are willing to do on television is also strange to me, too. It's crazy. Alright. You mean I can win money? Oh yeah, I can totally hypnotized. Right, they seem more acting hypnotized actually. Yeah, I don't know how hypnosis works. I don't know if you can actually do it to a human being. Power of suggestion is really strong, so I guess anything's possible. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go quite next. I guess what I can do, start deepening up my reds, so that way that would help. So I've got about 10 minutes. I think I'll pass on watching that one. Me too, Lumos. Me too. Think about the things I would like to do. red shades are really making it pop. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna slowly but surely like work up the saturation. Probably add some really saturated scales. Yeah, I really want this little dragon to be have lots of value, but have like saturation, like this kind of saturation, like super. Might end up applying ink to this one too. Just depends on how much I'm able to get the red to pop. We'll see. But before I added scales, I kind of wanted to build up like some of the underneath layering. So when I put scales on top of it, it just kind of helps make the scales darker or make them lighter without me having to like go back and repaint a bajillion scales. Hopefully, at least that's the idea. Yeah, I think ink would be fun. Left. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do is I think this is a great stopping point. I have lots of layers left to do, especially if I want to build up the saturation of my little dragon to being as powerful as these blues are. I think that my original goals for this drawing was just to find something imaginative that's more dreamlike than realistic. So I looked at things like The Hobbit and Tolkien's original drawings that he did for his book. I looked at an illustrator that I really love a lot. Her name is Mary Doodles, and she does really fantastic, fun drawings all the time. And so what I came up with is this little illustration, and I wanted to use, even though I was trying to make it dreamlike, I still wanted to use some of the traditional ways of using art and making it feel realistic even though it's not. So I use atmospheric perspective, where the closest thing to us are super saturated and then they get faded more in the back. So I wanted the dragon to look huge. That was the other reason why I chose a green sky, is because I knew I was going to add a ton of red, and there really wasn't a way to add green into the artwork because I had already decided to make my mountains blue. So I made the sky green to kind of balance out all the red that I'm eventually going to put on here. And then as I build up the colors of red, I'm going to make red advances because it's a warm color, and blues recede because it's cool. So that will make it feel like the dragon is huge. That's hopefully my interpretation of is that when you look at this, you think to yourself, geez, that dragon is ginormous. So that's my goal. It's just to have a little fun and enjoy the painting. But as on all watercolor paintings, it does take time. I've spent 2 hours painting this, and I'm nowhere near to being done. But I hope that you guys are enjoying the process, enjoying me just talk a little bit about art and then zoning out completely as I'm adding layers on top of layers to add texture, and eventually I will get to scales and I'll do like itty bitty scales all over this dragon. And then, and then I'll have an illustration, which will be a lot of fun. So my next streaming date is going to be on Friday. I'm going to be streaming at 7:30 as usual, Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to if you want to join me, I will be doing some kind of art. I still haven't decided. I know that it's like 2 days away. I don't know what I'm doing on Friday. So Friday will be one of those times where I will pull out a project I've been working on or start a brand new project. I have no idea. I'm just gonna allow myself the freedom to just kind of guess what I want to do. So sometimes it's good to give yourself the freedom to know, like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to allow myself to not be on a schedule and just choose something that makes me happy. So that's what I'm going to be doing on Friday. So if you guys would like to join me then, that would be great. If I don't see you for the rest of the week, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. We are halfway through our week. We are on hump day. So exciting. It's really great. Peace and blessings to you and everyone you hold dear. Don't forget to be awesome, and I will see you in 2 days on Friday. So I appreciate you all, and I will see you very, very soon.